Live now. All right, start the broadcast.
Hey again, everybody, and welcome into Talking Tuscaloosa. Luke Robinson along with Jimmy Stein, as always. Jimmy, how are you today?
Very good. Very good. Things are good. Things good with you?
I'm actually in Kokomo, Indiana, and let me tell you that the Beach Boys don't know what in the FERC they're talking about. I hadn't seen an ocean, a sailboat, a bikini. I hadn't seen shit like that.
You're not wearing a bikini, are you?
Well, that's why you can't see my image on here, but we can see you. I'm still the Talking Tuscaloosa icon for some reason.
No bikini here. I'm a one-piece guy.
You're just a bikini top, no bottoms.
That's right. But I wear the bottoms on top.
So we didn't talk about Alabama against, I guess it was Ole Miss. We didn't review the Ole Miss game, right?
Did we not? Didn't we win by like a whole lot to a little?
Yeah, and I went to the game. It was fun. I mean, yeah, they were going, they were going nuts after that first play. And really, I think I speak for all Alabama fans in attendance. None of us looked around like, oh shit, we're in for a dogfight. All of us go, you pissed us off.
Well,
and that's exactly what happened.
I consider the final score in that game 59-1. They won the first minute and we won the last 59.
They really only won about the first 11 seconds.
That's just harder for me with the math. So let's just stick to 59-1. Let's grant them the 1 minute and go from there.
So we can talk a little bit about Texas A&M. I did not go to that game, but
I was there.
What'd you think?
I think it rained at like the worst time possible. I'm literally leaving the tent. Here comes the rain. Pulled up the radar. There was one little shower that was like right over our heads, and we're like, we're going to walk to the stadium in the rain and then sit there wet and miserable for an hour. So we just waited for the rain to end, and I missed the kickoff, and I'm still upset. But anyway, whatever. Oh yeah, we won the game. We were very good again. Here's one thing. I think we have to get used to winning the games differently when we play somebody good. I'm not talking about the Ole Miss stuff, and I think the next 4 games are going to look a lot like the Ole Miss game. But when we play somebody good, and Texas A&M is good, we're going to have to get used to giving up more yards and giving up more points. And it is not because I think the defense sucks. The defense does not suck. It's not even average. I think the defense remains very, very good. We are good on defense, particularly the starters when we're fresh. I think we're good. It's just offense and defense. Here, I'm going to use a fancy word that I'm not even sure what it means, but symbiotic. What that means is the offense and the defense, even though they're two different units with different players, I firmly believe in the theory that offense affects defense and defense affects offense. This is why, for instance, Alabama was so good defensively under Gene Stallings, because all we did was run the ball. So in practice all week long, all we ever did was run the ball. And playing against a physical power ground team toughens up your defense, makes you really good. Conversely, when you're, let's just use a modern example, Kevin Sumlin at Texas A&M, when he's throwing it around 60 times a game and all the throws are east and west, and it's, for lack of a better term, a pillow fight offense. I think when you practice against that, it softens up the defense. It doesn't matter that your defense is 11 great athletes, some of whom will play pro football. What matters is how the defense is chiseled by the offense it faces every day in practice. So I say all that to say Alabama right now is sort of a pass-happy offense. Not an offense that's going to throw it 50 times, but Alabama principally moves the ball throwing it. They clearly rep it a lot. And because we throw it a lot and because we score so quickly, I think the nature of the offense is affecting the defense's ability to get off the field quickly, to hold teams to 3 and outs like we so used to do. I think we're just going to have to give up to the fact that a typical game against a good team means that we're giving up 350 to 380 yards and they're going to score 14 to 22 points. Not because the defense itself is worse. It's the style of our own offense that's leading to that result. So does that make sense? Or was that just drivel shit?
No, it makes total sense to me, man. I'm right there with you.
Hey. Okay.
I'm thinking, you know, I guess the theme of these last 2 weeks, or really this whole season, the thing that's concerning me, not really concerning. Man, I'm about ready for Tua to play a whole game, and I don't know when he's going to be able to do it. We're going to have to do it sometime. My guess is we may not have to do it until LSU.
Well, one thing about
I don't want him to be his first 4-quarter game to be in Baton Rouge with everybody all frothed up and liquored up and gumboed up.
If Tua's playing in the 4th quarter in Baton Rouge, what's the score?
Yeah, that's a good point.
You're scaring the hell out of me, man. I say I don't want to see Tua play 4 quarters. I don't want to see Tua play 4 quarters. That means the game's tight because he's not coming out. Look, if it's 24-21 in the 4th quarter,
yeah, he's not coming out.
Tua's not coming out. I don't think it's a matter of. I mean, Tua's the starter, Jalen's the backup. I mean, I know we can call it a 2-quarterback system, and we can call it whatever we want to. And it's true. I do think. Look, here I'll give an even more example of the story. I don't know if people know this that aren't there when they load the buses. I know a lot of people are there at the Walk of Champions, but we take 3 buses to the games. The team loads up in the hotel at the Capstone. They load in the bus, and they drive the Walk of Champions. They get out. But we do it by team. The first team is in the first bus. That's the first team. That's the first team offense and the first team defense. They're in the first bus. You know where Jalen is? He's in the first bus. He's in the first bus. That's not a consolation prize. That's not he's a 4th-year junior who's about to graduate. No, we put the first team in the first bus, and Jalen's in the first bus. That's because, as far as Nick is concerned, as far as we all should be concerned, Jalen's a first-team quarterback along with Tua. However, the way the games play out, Jalen is coming in at a time typically reserved for the second-team quarterback to come in. And I just think when we have a big lead or a lead, Jalen's going to come in and play, get more experience, play well. Too lazy to hit cough button. Sorry about that. So
do you have a cough button?
I have a cough button.
How the hell did you get a cough button?
It's in my contract with Pringles.
Pringles, the chip that comes in a can, perfect for a robot orgy. How about that?
Pringles. We gave Jimmy a cough button because he actually bought some Pringles 2 weeks ago when we should be giving them to them for free.
This is no shit, man. Okay, so I had to make a delivery in Chicago, right? We're pretty busy. We're pretty busy over here in
Kokomo
at Robertson Iron, and so I've been relegated to sometimes delivery boy, and so I was making a delivery in Chicago, and then I stopped at some little small town in Illinois to spend the night, and I went to go eat, and they had like this shopping mall near it, and I just walked through the shopping mall. I'm in this bigger truck. No shit, Jimmy, I've never seen this before. Why didn't I take a picture of it? They had a Pringles vending machine.
Get out. I think I've seen one. I think I've seen one somewhere.
You get Pringles out of the freaking vending machine.
I've seen one. So that is awesome.
That is awesome. That'd be like Alex City getting a Chick-fil-A, though. I would weigh 10,000 pounds. If they had a Chick-fil-A and a Pringles vending machine in my hometown, you would be like, hey, yeah, I do a podcast with this guy named Luke, and he has to wash himself with a rag on a stick. He's so fat.
They have beer and vending machines in other countries.
Okay, that's not crazy to me, but what genius thought, there's some people who they want Pringles right then coming out of Old Navy, but they can't get them at Old Navy. So we need a vending machine with them in them.
I'm sure they're reasonably priced too. Oh, look, a Pringles machine. Honey, do you have a 20?
Yeah. And do you have another 20 behind it? You have a 20. You have a 20 and then another 20 so I can buy 2.
Yeah. I need $40 for a half a can of Pringles.
And you know what though? There are times
I've done it.
There have been times in my life I would have paid $40 for some freaking Pringles.
I've overpaid for things in my life for sure.
Let's talk about the big news of the day, college football.
I paid a security guard one time. Gosh, leave it to me to say this on a podcast. But when I was much younger, well, not as young as I should have been, when I was younger than I am now, I went to this. I went to this
well,
rock
which would have been
concert
5 minutes ago or 2 seconds ago. I mean,
when the sentence started. Well, let's
Yeah,
just say this:
no.
I was younger, but this wasn't last week. I went to a concert in a small venue, even though it was a big famous rock band. It was so cool in this small venue, and I had to go to the bathroom so bad. And I went in the bathroom line because it's a small place, but it was packed out. The bathroom line was ridiculous, and I had to go so bad. Plus, I mean, you know, the band's only going to play an hour and a half. I've been looking forward to the show for 5 months. It was one of the coolest shows I've ever seen. And I'm like, not only is that line impossible, I'm going to miss what, 5 songs in the line. So I'm just walking down. I'm like, there's got to be another bathroom. I see the other bathroom. There's the second bathroom in the venue. The line is the same. And I'm like, crap. But I see this security guard standing by a door. So I walk up to the security guard. He's just one of these yellow shirt event things. And I'm like, hey, how are you? He's like, good. I'm like, I'm just asking, what's behind the door? And he's like, a stairway. And I'm like, why do you have to guard stairs? And he's like, because it leads to backstage. And I'm like, oh. And I said, is there a bathroom back there? And he's like, no, it's just stairs that go to backstage. And I'm like, I really have to go to the bathroom. And he's like, well, there's a bathroom this way and a bathroom that way. I'm like, dude, look, what if I promise I don't want to go backstage? I don't want to go backstage, but what I want to do is walk down those stairs and pee, and I'll give you $20. And he's like, all you're going to do is pee? And I'm like, all I'm going to do is pee. And he's like, give me the 20. So I paid him $20, and I walked down about 6 stairs. He closed the door behind me. I walked down about 6 stairs, peed, knocked on the door. He let me back in.
Well, you're burying the lead. How was the Nickelback concert?
It was actually close to Nickelback. It was burying the lead. It was the Stone Temple Pilots at the New Orleans Theater on Canal Street. So it's like STP when they were hugely famous, but the venue only held about 1,500 people. I had to buy the tickets way in advance, and they were expensive. And because, you know, to be 1,500 people to see STP in this little place, but it was like the first show to kick off a tour or whatever. But yeah, we were talking about overspending on Pringles, and I'm talking about paying to pee.
Yeah, well, I was going to say the story was going to be cool. I thought you were going to say I found an empty Pringles can and peed in it. But
no, that would have been more class. That would have been more classy than the story I just told. But you know, hey, it's a rock show. I didn't go to see the New Orleans Philharmonic or Josh Groban or Tony Bennett. It's the Stone Temple Pilots. People pee on stairs.
I bet you that somebody's peed on the stairs during a Tony Bennett concert.
Tony Bennett is 92 years old. There's a good chance he's peeing right up there on stage when he's singing.
There's a good chance he's peeing right this minute.
And he would have very little idea. He would have no idea. They're going to have to tell him.
One other quick thing you talked about, you know, when you were younger, I heard a comedian one time say, you know, I hate it when people say things like, here's a picture of me when I was younger. Isn't every picture of you when you were younger? Okay. All right. Here's the news.
Okay. Yeah, football.
The news of the day is Kelly Bryant leaving Clemson and doing so in a huff. I mean, he's pissed. Yep. And I've been listening, you know, I've been driving a lot today, and I've been listening to a lot of sports talk radio. And I mean, everybody's sort of on board both ways, which is funny to me because it didn't anger me. It's just like, you know, when this was Saban, everybody's like, I mean, my God, this guy was 26-2 and blah, blah, blah. And now that we all see clearly Tua is the better quarterback, that doesn't mean Jalen's not a good person or not a good quarterback. It just means Tua is a generational type guy that oh, wait a minute. Sorry, hang on. I'm getting a face.
Was that Pringles?
That was Pringles calling saying, quit
telling us cease and desist.
We have not paid you nothing. Please.
Is that yet another cease and desist?
Sales are down 0.0000.
Sales should be up. We brag on those chips. We brag. We're sitting here brag. We just said 40. You should pay $40 for half a can. We just said that.
Yeah, that's right. We are creating. Y'all can go with like high class Pringles now.
Yeah, like, there's like taco
gold dusting shit on them.
There's taco Pringles that taste like tacos.
Oh, I mean,
I saw that for the first time, and I'm like, it's a great time to be alive. When you can buy Pringles that taste like a taco, is there anything possibly better than that? Other than, you know, a taco?
other than a real taco served by a woman with 3 boobs to continue our last podcast?
Well, there's nothing better than that.
So anyway, Kelly Bryant's leaving, and he's kind of pissed about it, and yada yada yada, which is fine. And I do think I think nobody's wrong, and if everybody's kind of right. If I were Kelly Bryant, I'd probably be a little pissed too. But and here's the thing: he has to leave now because he's a senior and he's already redshirted. So I don't know. I guess he thinks he's going to somehow he will get a 6th year. How's this going to work?
Is he a redshirt? I mean, I don't even know.
I think he's a redshirt senior.
He must not have redshirted. You can't redshirt twice. You can't redshirt twice. Maybe he's a senior who didn't redshirt. Therefore, he has the redshirt year available to him even after 4 games.
They said today on radio. Now I have not looked it up. I'm going to look it up. You talk about something while I look it up.
Well, here's one thing about that distinguishes. This goes to show why the Saban situation and the Clemson one is so different, even though the comparisons are from coast to coast today. But think of this. Trevor Lawrence, who, by the way, I mean, don't get me started. I've said on record, I've said on multiple websites, and I'm not shy about saying I've said on Twitter, Trevor Lawrence is the best high school prospect I've ever seen on tape. I said that at the time. I said it way back then on the podcast. I've been consistent in that. I'm not changing. He's the best high school prospect I've ever seen on tape play quarterback. That doesn't mean he'll be the best college quarterback of all time. I don't know. I'm just saying as a high school prospect, he's the best I've ever seen on tape. But this is my point. Tua is more accomplished than Trevor Lawrence last year. Now realize that Trevor is 4 games into his freshman year, and Tua didn't kind of become Alabama's quarterback until the last half of game 14. Well, Tua, the controversy at Alabama, it was Tua versus Jalen, but Trevor Lawrence hasn't accomplished what Tua accomplished. He's just looked impressive playing parts of 4 games, 3 of which Clemson won easily. Conversely, Kelly Bryant, who is aggrieved, and everybody goes, oh, I can understand why Kelly Bryant's upset. He got Clemson in the playoff last year. He won the ACC last year. Well, Jalen did that shit twice. Jalen did it twice. Kelly Bryant did it once. Jalen accomplished that twice. So Saban, I just think the situations are different. I think that it was easier to bench Kelly Bryant than it was Jalen because Kelly Bryant has accomplished this. By the way, Kelly Bryant was not ACC Player of the Year. I don't think so. Was he? I don't think so. He should have been.
Well, who would have been?
Off the top of my head, I'll tell you the best offensive player in that league is A.J. Dillon, that Boston College running back. But I don't know that he was
player of the year 2017. All right, first of all, it shows Kelly Bryant did not redshirt, but I swear, first of all, it was Lamar Jackson. We should have known that.
Oh, duh. Okay. Yeah. Well, he was an ACC. Yeah, and you're right about. I mean, somebody on the radio might have said he was a 5th-year senior, or whatever, and they were just wrong. But you can't redshirt twice. The new redshirt rule, there's a lot of confusion. And I know the rules, hey, look, unless you live and breathe this football stuff like nerds like me and Luke do, because we're giant nerds. So we know this stuff well because we're nerds and don't have a life. But the redshirt rule, it seems complicated to people, but it's not. You don't get to do this year over again. It's just a redshirt year like any other redshirt year. It's no different than the old medical redshirt year where you used to be able to play in 4 games, and if you got hurt in those first 4 games, you could count it as a red shirt. All they changed it from is, hey, now you don't have to get hurt. Now you don't have to get hurt. You can just play in 4 games. We're going to but you cannot have more than 1 redshirt year. There are people running around that now think these guys can play football in 6 years. Not true. And there are people that think that by redshirting you save a year of eligibility. Not true if you've already redshirted. Not true.
Okay, and he has not redshirted, by the way. Now I swear I heard Andy Staples or his co-host say today he had redshirted. And they went with that. And so that's why I was thinking, oh, my God, I didn't know that was the case. He has not redshirted.
Correct. So, let's think of a senior. Who's a 5th-year senior at Alabama? Ross Pierce-Baker. He's a 5th-year senior. He's played in 4 games now. If he said, you know what, I don't want to play at Alabama anymore. I'm going to play somewhere else next year. I'm a grad transfer. No. You've already used a redshirt year. He can't leave and have another year of eligibility next year. That would be a 6th year. He can't do it. Pierce-Baker can't do it. But a senior who has not redshirted, Damian Harris, he could leave today and count this season as a redshirt year and then go play his 5th year somewhere else next year. Obviously, that's not going to happen. I'm just using it as examples of kids that we know well, because everybody listening to this is either an Alabama fan or a Pringles fan or a fan about stories of urinating in public.
Any of those fans listening?
Those are the only people listening.
And on the rare occasion, all three. What if you're all three?
Those are my kind of people.
Those are my peeps.
Those are my peeps. They probably eat a bunch of Pringles.
So where do you
or tacos?
Where would you think Kelly Bryant would go? Here's the thing. I thought about this, and I was just trying, toying around with this idea in my head. Wouldn't it be something? What if Jalen Hurts? And we all agree probably Jalen Hurts is leaving after this year. I mean, that makes the most sense. I'd love it if he stayed. If he stayed, he'd be the hero of all heroes. Can you imagine the ovation he would get every time he came in if he were still the backup next year? Oh my God.
I just think the way he's handled things this year, if Jalen tells the staff that this is his last year, I think we ought to honor Jalen at senior day, just like they do all the other seniors at the Auburn game. And then when he gets his handshake from Nick and the little thing, I think the stadium should stand up and clap for 20 minutes.
No, I'm right there with you, man. That's a great idea. I hope Nick takes you up on it. But anyway,
he listens to the show because he's a fan of urinating in public.
Also Pringles.
Of course.
But so what if Jalen Hurts went to Oregon and Kelly Bryant went to Auburn and they play each other first game of the year next year in Arlington? That'd be interesting.
That would be awesome. And I think Oregon's a great spot for Jim. I mean, here's to me a great spot, though I don't know their depth chart situation, and I might be overselling this. As far as I know, Jalen's going to have quarterback in North Alabama next year for all I know. But you know what I think would be a good offense for him? And he could just continue doing what he's doing and show off for the NFL, which is what he wants to do. Oklahoma, which is close to home for him.
Oh my God, dude. And I'll tell you, I mean, listen, there's some big
skill set is similar.
Yeah. There are big time teams that are going to need quarterbacks next year. I mean, Oregon being one of them. I mean, assuming their quarterback goes pro, which he will. Oklahoma's going to need a quarterback. Florida. Auburn, but now Auburn with Bo Nix coming in, you wonder because here's the thing with Clemson now. I didn't know they've had 4 quarterbacks transfer like in the last 5 months or some shit. I mean, they don't have a backup. They've got Chase.
Hunter Johnson left. Didn't Hunter Johnson go to Indiana or Purdue? Indiana.
I think he went to Indiana. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's gone. I mean, and they had like 3 other quarterbacks that I didn't really know about. They've all gone. And then and they've got one backup he's had Mac Jones type playing experience. But man, I watched the Texas A&M game and a little bit of the Ole Miss game. Now A&M more so. A&M, I don't know if this was I'm not saying it was intentional, but they were hitting Tua a lot. And my thought was, if you've heard, who's the guy who does the videos? Have you seen the guy that does the videos and he explains it really well, but he gets kind of, he's kind of real. He's kind of hip hop-ish about the way
the John Doe guy. Didn't he go by John Doe?
He's awesome.
It's good.
Oh, I love it.
I have more of a bro crush on Ben Letman.
Okay. I love Ben Letman too.
He does it differently, but yeah, I understand.
But
that's pretty good. It's entertaining.
Entertaining to me. Everybody eats. You get shrimp with extra cocktail sauce. That's hilarious to me. When he jukes a guy, he goes medic. I dig it. But anyway, oh shit, where was I going with this? Oh, well, anyway, he was talking about guys going low on Tua in this A&M game, and he was spot on. I didn't think about it before. I was like, holy shit, And if you think about it, Louisville went low a couple of times. It's one of those things where you're one just accidentally bad hit away from needing your backup. And especially for somebody who is a true freshman who still needs to get a feel for the college game, is still coming at him pretty quickly. I mean, if I'm Clemson, I'm a little worried now.
I told an Alabama coach this year, one of the new guys, so I was going to look in his face because this subject came up. I told him, do you know that Alabama has not had a starting quarterback miss 1 game due to injury since 2004?
Wow.
And you should have seen the look on his face. And the look on his face wasn't, wow, this nerd seems to really know his Alabama football. That you would think, well, I would get that face, and I get that face all the time. But the look on his face was more like, holy shit, that's going to happen like in the next 15 minutes because Alabama's so overdue for that. And that's why Nick went to such pains to try to keep Jalen and Tua happy and satisfied, because it's just ask Clemson today. It's a tremendous advantage that if you lose your starter, you can put in your second guy who still gives you a great chance to win. Not the same chance. If it was the same chance and Jalen and Tua were the same, they play 50-50, but they're not the same. Tua is a generational quarterback. But there is literal proof that Jalen can get you to the playoff. There's proof. He's 2 for 2 doing that. So no one else has that. And now Clemson doesn't have that. Clemson didn't handle their situation as well as Nick handled his, and now Clemson doesn't have that. And for all the bitching and moaning and 8 months of hand-wringing, Nick handled it perfectly. And look at the situation we're in. We have the best quarterback in the country, and we have the most experienced number 2 quarterback in the country. That's amazing.
No, it really is amazing. But what I'm saying is, if you're in Clemson's position, I mean, now you're kind of worried. I mean, I would be.
Yep.
But their schedule is so easy; it may not matter. I mean, they play literally nobody. For all the hand wringing, speaking, using your term about our schedule at the beginning of the season, all of a sudden, I mean, look at how we could end up the season after our bye week. It's at number 5 LSU, who may not be number 5 by then, granted, but they're number 5 now. And then it'll be against a ranked Mississippi State team who by that time could be way up in the rankings. I mean, I think they have a good shot to win out till they get to us. And then we face an Auburn team that'll probably be top 15 at worst. Then we presumably will play Georgia, who should be undefeated or maybe only have 1 loss. And then the playoffs. I mean, we're going to have maybe the worst or the toughest end of the season as anybody.
It is a crazy November. We're going to hear all this shit over the next 4 weeks because, frankly, I mean, we're going to keep doing the podcast because we love, pitching Pringles and talking about peeing. We're going to keep doing the podcast, but the next 4 games we're going to win 50-something to 10-something. I mean, all 4. I mean, we're going to kill those teams, and the rest of the country seeing these scores every week is going to be so bored, and there's going to be build up all this resentment. It's all going to be about Alabama doesn't play anybody. Well, people, Alabama's November schedule today, the way it looks today, is probably the toughest in the country. And that's at the end when you would like to get some weeks off. LSU, Mississippi State, and Auburn will all have seen time in the top 10. Will they be in the top 10 when we tee it up with them that day? I don't know. But they will all have spent time in the top 10 in 2018, in my opinion. So, yeah, it's tough in November. But these next 4 games, dude, we are going to smoke Lafayette and Missouri and Arkansas and Tennessee. I would say collectively 220 to, I'm going to say 60, but it's going to be less than 60. 220 to 60 in the next 4 games.
I'm right there with you. I mean, look, the line on this game Saturday is 48. So you have to assume we're going to get 60. I mean, I've got to assume we're getting 60.
I'm so tempted to just, drive over the Beau Rivage and drop a couple of hundies on Lafayette. Not because I think Lafayette's going to cover. I actually think Alabama's going to cover. But I've never done this before. If you put $200 on Lafayette and the game kicks off, you're up money-wise. You're up 49-0. And you're like, it's going to be entertaining to watch my 49-point lead whittle away. You know what I mean? That's kind of entertaining. Like, oh, I'm up by 49, and then it's going to start whittling away, and then there's going to be some ups and downs, and who knows whether Alabama covers. And if Alabama covers and Alabama wins 58-0, and you lose $200, who cares? Because it was $200 of entertainment to watch Alabama win 58-0.
Well, as a guy who bet on the over of Alabama Ole Miss,
oh gosh,
it was.
Well, who would have thought? I would have bet the over too. I would have bet the over so confidently. Who would have thought we would hold them to 7? I bet Nick Saban didn't think that. We weren't going to hold them to 7
Who would have
points.
thought when we had, 42 at the half, that we wouldn't score? We scored 20 more points. I mean, you're thinking, I don't give a shit who we put in there. I mean,
Yep.
They were allergic to defense.
It's yet another talent Saban has. Saban's almost gifted at not running up the score. He's gifted at it. It's somehow he puts the brakes on the scoreboard as good as anybody ever has without literally ordering the players to just sit when they're in the open field. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He does a good job of it could be in the third quarter and you're up 52-3 and you're like, holy shit, we're going to score 80 points and really embarrass them. And somehow we only score another touchdown.
And I feel bad for a guy like Najee because Najee, I mean, he is the third back now.
Right.
And he would be at first back anywhere else, but he comes in and against A&M and we're already sort of milking the clock a little bit and they know we're milking the clock.
Right.
And he can't get started. I mean, that's why I wish we would see more Najee with Tua, because I think that would free him up more. When Najee's in there with Jalen, they know we're running or they know it's a short pass. And
That's
so,
right.
but you put Najee in there more with Tua, maybe he breaks free a little bit more. I mean, again, it's because we're just beating the soul out of these teams. Florida State is, I don't know when they're going to get better. We slapped their ass so hard. I have no idea. Michigan State, they recovered just in time to get pimp slapped again by us.
They must hate us so bad. That's hilarious. It's hilarious how Michigan State views Alabama. We've played maybe the 2 best games of the Saban era have been against Michigan State.
No, there's no question.
You know how it's so ridiculous how we down here, whenever some crazy writer says Alabama can beat the worst NFL team, and it's so stupid. No, Alabama cannot. But you know who takes us columns seriously is Michigan State fans. They're like, oh well, hell yes, they can beat the Patriots.
Yeah.
They're like that group. Yeah, they'll beat the Dolphins, and they mean it because we have played like an NFL playoff team against them both times.
Oh yeah.
Something about that green fires us up.
Michigan State's like, we'd rather play the Dolphins just because we know what's going to happen to us if we play Alabama. We don't know for sure what's going to happen to us if we play the Dolphins. I mean, we have a good idea, but we don't know for sure.
That's right. And it would probably look very similar. No, but Alabama against who's the worst team in the NFL right now? It's the Raiders. If Alabama played the Raiders, it would look exactly like, let's say, who's the worst Division I team in Power 5 football? Rutgers?
Yeah, I mean, boy, it's amazing we said
Rutgers.
that. Rutgers has the distinction of losing at home to Buffalo and to Kansas in the same year.
So what's the score? What's the score for Rutgers plays Hoover?
Ooh, I mean, Rutgers still beats their ass, but I mean,
right? It'd be interesting. I'd be interested to see it. I mean, I'd be interested.
Here's the thing. Yeah,
it wouldn't be 100. It wouldn't be 100-0.
Oh no.
I think it would be 56-7.
All right, let me ask you this. Speaking of Rutgers or Kansas,
and I could be, if I'm wrong, it's 70-0.
All right. Speaking of Rutgers or Kansas, all right. Again, people bitching about Alabama's schedule and the Citadel and Louisiana and whatever. Instead of Louisiana this week, if we were playing Rutgers, would we get more credit for playing 2 Power 5 out of conference games? Even though Rutgers obviously, I mean, if Rutgers plays Louisiana, I'm betting on Louisiana.
I'm betting on Louisiana. I'd take Louisiana, but it would be tight. I'd take Louisiana. For one thing,
I mean, Louisiana's bad.
Louisiana's bad now. They've had some good teams. They've been very competitive some years, and I think Billy Napier is going to build. If they give him 4 years, Billy Napier is going to build a program that I think can win their league. But he inherited a mess, so got to give him time. But no, I agree with you, Luke. I think we would get more credit for playing Rutgers or Kansas, who aren't as good as the Lafayette's and Southern Misses. But I think we would get more credit.
My point is that Ohio State played Oregon State and TCU, and everybody's like, well, they played 2 Power 5. I'm like, if you're playing Oregon State, it is not – there's no difference in Oregon State and Louisiana. There just isn't. I mean,
I'll tell you who's pretty good. We beat them pretty good. I'll tell you who's pretty good as Arkansas State. Arkansas State can beat many Power 5 teams.
Arkansas State would beat Rutgers and Oregon State easily.
They would beat Rutgers. They'd beat Oregon State. They'd beat Kansas. Arkansas State, give them 3 chances. They probably. Oh, I'll tell you, Arkansas State would beat Arkansas. They might beat Arkansas.
Yeah,
hell, that's crazy, true. But they probably would.
You dig the probably out. You made that sentence too long. Yeah, they would beat Arkansas.
And you know what? Hell, put Justice Hansen at Arkansas, they probably go 5-7 because that dude's a freak, man. He can play. He's a dude.
Yeah, he's good. He's really good.
But all right, so
you got a prediction for this week?
I do. I think Alabama is going to win 56-3. What you got?
I'm going to say 65 to nothing.
Ooh, that's a lot. 65-0?
65-0.
Shit, man. That's
I think we're going to do it. We gave up too many points. Have you seen the video?
The headline Sunday morning. The headline Sunday morning would include the word jail sex. That's bad.
That'd be a good. I mean, if they did that, they would get some. One
get some
time,
clicks.
This is no shit. At our paper one time, this is pre everything being on the internet, but our local newspaper had a headline, and because this kid got kicked out of school and for a reason that the headline will give away, it said student expelled for passing gas. The kid had so much gas and was stinking up the classroom so bad that they expelled him from school. And that was the headline: expelled for passing gas. I thought that was kind of cute.
It is, because it's expelling gas.
And you don't.
Is this a public school? That sounds like a lawsuit.
Oh yeah, this was a public school. Yeah, no.
That's an ADA thing.
Yeah, it was a Montessori school.
I would argue that's a federally protected illness thing. I'm not exactly that type of lawyer, but I know enough about it to know that's a lawsuit. Because that's like telling somebody, well, you can't have diarrhea in here, you're expelled. I mean, it's a medical condition.
But if you looked over there and he was making that grimacy face like you're
if he's doing it on purpose. Oh yeah.
And I think that's what he was doing. I don't think this was just like,
I don't
think it was just him going, oh my God, I can't control my
IBS.
Yeah, I don't think that's what he was saying. I think he was going, his teacher would go, I mean, like he'd probably cut one and his teacher go, I'm sorry, what'd you say? He'd say, yeah, I called you if your name was, something like that.
It wasn't IBS. It was FUNNY.
Yeah. Oh, and I think that's the thing is like everybody was falling out, and eventually they sent him to the, what did Keegan Michael Key call the principal when he was doing that? He was do you remember when Keegan Michael Key was the teacher and he was like, where's Balake? And he goes, go to Oshag Hennessy. That's all right. Oshag. He said he had to go to Oshag Hennessy. Principal Oshag Hennessy. Have you not seen this?
I saw quite a bit of their show.
Key and Peele?
Key and Peele, yeah.
When he was the teacher, you hadn't seen that? He's a black substitute teacher, and he's in a room with like all these white students, and he's in there. You got to see the video, but he's trying to read their names. He's like, "Is there a Balake here?" And nobody said anything. And finally, somebody's, "My name's Blake," and he was like, "Don't screw with me anymore, Balake." And then he said, "Is there an AA Ron? Is AA Ron here?" And he goes, "Did you mean Aaron?" It went on like that. "Is there a D Nice? You mean Denise?" It just went on like that. It's hilarious. It's
cracking me up right now. It's cracking me up right now. I might Google it. I like the skits that hit.
It is.
You're getting busy over there.
Can you hear these?
I do hear that. Is that like? Yeah, I hear that. Is that?
See, here's my thing. I got this Mac, and is
that the porn?
I got this Mac, and like
I hear your porn button going off. Porn.
I'm just doing it right into this Pringles can. Hey, Jimmy, you want some Pringles?
No thanks.
right,
I'm
so
over here. I'm over here farting in class and getting kicked out.
Podcast expelled for passing gas.
So you said
basketball
65 to nothing?
Huh?
Oh yeah, basketball practice did start. I'm sort of excited about that. Okay, here's a question. I've been butchering this, and you know, because you're an Alabama High School Athletic Association broadcaster.
I am.
Is it Kyra Lewis or Kira Lewis?
It's Kyra Lewis, and we've already been over this because he corrected me. Wait a minute.
That's right.
Wait a minute. He corrected me, and I can't remember what he corrected me to.
We're too old. We can't even remember when we're told. So you talked to him and you said, I'm here with Kira Lewis. And he's like, Kyra.
Well, that's what I said. I said, is it Kira or Kyra? And he said, it's blank. I can't remember what the hell it was.
You be him. You be him, and I'll be you, and I'll tell you how this went.
Okay, go ahead.
We're here with Kira Lewis.
Kyra.
Oh, that's interesting, Kira. So, Kira.
That's how that went. That's exactly how that went. It's got to be Kyra.
I think it's okay. I don't know. I went with Kira, and then was told by someone with the basketball program that it was Kyra. But then, just like you, I can't.
That's what I just said, right? It is Kyra, right?
But then I can't remember. Did I go to the basketball guy with it's Kyra, and then he told me it was Kira?
No, that's.
I knew I had it wrong. I knew I had it wrong because I was told by a basketball guy that would know because he knows him that I had it all wrong. But yeah, I think you're right. It's Kyra.
Okay.
Well, so he's going to be the most. Oh yeah, he'll be great, and yeah, I think the team's going to be very good. I do. I think the problem, if you want to call it a problem, is the league is so freaking good. It's a murderer's row, and I'm already pissed. I'm already pissed before I see it. But when we finish 9-9 in the league, or 10-8, and people are like, well, we had our expectations, and all we got was 10-8. Well, gosh dang! I mean, 10-6 in the NFL means you're good. And 10-8 in the SEC, you're good. This may be the best league in the country. I mean, it really might be. I've never said that, and it might be. I'm telling you, if you don't screw it up in November and December, 9-9 in the SEC will get you in this year. If you don't screw it up in November and December, 9-9 in the league, you're in. Do you agree?
I'm right there with you.
I mean, that's how good the league is hard. So be prepared to watch us lose a few games, but it doesn't mean that the team isn't good. I think they will be good. I'm hoping for big years out of Dante Hall. Every player has to just get a little bit better. Just get a little bit better. Petty has to be more consistent. Dante Hall more consistent. Tevin Mack. He doesn't have to be Colin Sexton. I know it's a different position, but we are going to need Tevin Mack to replace a lot of Colin's production. But I think he will be a productive player and will help us replace that production. And of course, we need a nice year from Dazon Ingram. That will be a big help as well. And I'll tell you, a guy we missed last year was Riley Norris. We missed him in games. We really did. There were games I was like, man, I wish we could put Riley Norris in here for a few minutes. And hopefully he'll have a really nice final act. Not being a significant player, but a guy off the bench that we need to come in and hit some shots. And I think that's a good role for him.
And what people need to be patient with, they need to remember that we have a high school senior who will be our lead point.
Yep. He's literally a high school senior. Literally a high school senior. It's fascinating. It's awesome. He's going to be fun to root for, but literally a high school senior. And what is it, man? We have talked about this in the podcast. Another thing, there are some themes that fans have that make me want to strangle them. And one is this idea that being a freshman in basketball doesn't matter. I don't know if it was the Fab Five that confused people or the fact that every NBA draft, there's about 12 freshmen that go in the first round. And all that has acted to make the college basketball fan watch a freshman basketball player and expect them to be really good or dominant and not allow them to have a freshman season. And it really pisses me off. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. You know what the best thing about every coach has said this, and the rules have never changed. The best thing about freshmen is that they eventually become sophomores. And that rule applies to basketball too. Now, can you be a dominant freshman basketball player? Yes, you can, but it's a small list. It's a small list. It's not the norm. It's not the norm. Those are freaks. Not every good freshman is a freak. You know what they are? Freshmen.
One more thing really quickly. I'm going to start a new segment. I don't know if we'll keep it going because I don't know if I'll remember. But I'm going to call it Tweet Nothings.
Okay.
It's a play on Sweet Nothings. Just tweets I like this week. How about that?
Okay.
This one came from @DrunkAubie. He said, "Gonna need Kelly Bryant to steal something before he becomes our quarterback. Got to trust the process."
Funny.
That is very good.
I can see Kelly Bryant at Auburn.
Like?
Most of the tweets I like are tweets from me after I've been drinking. Those are my favorite tweets on the internet. My own drunk tweets, and there hasn't been too many of them lately. But no, I really enjoy. I've mentioned him already. I enjoy Ben Letvin's tweets because they're educational and real football talk. I really love that level of, I call it football 404. Not just the standard who's in the starting lineup stuff, but just kind of a breakdown of the plays. I really enjoy that. But in terms of like hilarious tweets, I don't know. Nothing comes to mind. But now I know to look.
That's going to be our thing from here on out. Is we're gonna come up with find somebody who tweeted something hilarious and
find a hilarious tweet.
Yeah, and
okay,
we're going
to
do it once a week.
That's easy to do, and so they can be R-rated, right? Because I follow a few funny R-rated people.
Yeah, they can be R-rated as shit.
We encourage that around here. Okay.
By the way, somebody from Arkansas, Kyrie Fisher, just announced he is transferring from Arkansas. So we're seeing more and more people.
Yeah. Well, we knew it was coming to an extent, but let's remember, and here's the thing, quickly, like Nate Craig Myers that's leaving Auburn, Jalen Harris is leaving Auburn. First of all, those guys were playing. Why are they leaving? Don't you leave because you're not playing and you want to play? Those guys were playing. Why are they leaving? That has nothing to do with the redshirt rule. They're mad and leaving.
Yeah.
Redshirt rule means, hey, I'm not playing here. I got a better chance of playing somewhere else. They just want to be somewhere else.
That's right.
That would be like freaking it for us. It'd be like Dylan Moses. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I can, I get playing time at Iowa. You're getting playing time here.
Plenty of playing time.
Yeah. Dylan will be good at Iowa, by the way. Hope they don't steal him.
I hope they have a stadium that's wider in the corner of the end zones.
we can, exactly. I like Iowa. I like their style of play. I know they're not going to win 11 or 12 games, but man, they're a tough football team. I know people like making fun of the Big Ten, and I know Iowa's not great, but as a fan of football and styles of play, I like watching Iowa. And I know they bore that, like, why does LJS want to watch Iowa and they're boring 17 points a game? Because they're tough. That's a tough football team. Me and Gene Stallings are Iowa Hawkeye fans.
I enjoyed their game with Wisconsin.
Yeah, I was rooting for them too. Almost pulled it off.
They should have pulled it off.
They should have won the game.
They had the dumbest punt fumble I've ever seen in my life.
I'm hoping Nate Stanley's down here for the Senior Bowl. He's a good player. The quarterback at Iowa. I think he's a borderline NFL backup to me.
Yeah. So
all right.
Well, that's going to wrap up.
I say 56-3. You say 65-0.
Yep, and I bet you a can of Pringles, I get closer.
I am very hungry for Pringles.
Would you rather just have the 20?
I wish I had a vending machine outside. I'd put a couple of 20s in there and get my half a can of taco pretzels. Pringles, not pretzels.
Yeah, sorry, Pringles.
Taco pretzel. That would be terrible.
God, if Pringles comes out with a pretzel, I'll just give right there.
You know how the Pringle chips are in a can? What about tacos in a can?
Ooh, that's a good game. How many Pringles are in a can? It's like guessing jelly beans in a jar.
I think there's fewer than you think. I'm going 140.
All right, wait a minute. I'll go 170. I'm going to go 170. I'm going to look it up right now. How
Googling? That's not fair.
Well, I mean, I said 170 and Pringles in a can. Certainly. All right. Standard size cans are about 100 chips on average.
100.
It says for those who need proof, here's the video.
Oh shit! So the answer is 100.
Yes.
Wow, we were off, huh? We just paid $40 for 50 Pringles. $1 a piece.
That's a shitload of,
You know, we're just rolling in money over here, paying $1 a Pringle.
I mean, you talk about somebody who doesn't know. I mean, it's like we're an NFL rookie. We're spending money so bad. I mean,
hey, Jimmy, how's your law practice going? Oh, it's going great. I'm paying $1 a Pringle over here.
I'm swimming in Pringles, bitch.
That's right. I paid $1 a piece for these things.
Can you imagine? Like next time I buy a can of Pringles and bring them home for the kids, and they're over there eating them, I'm gonna be like, whoa, whoa, whoa!
That's $1 a piece.
That's your college fund.
People have so much money to burn. We were buying Pringles and just burning them. I paid $1 a piece for these Pringles. They're on fire.
All right. Roll Tide, everybody.
56-3. Roll Tide.
Easy. All right. See you, buddy.
Bye.